All right. Good morning, Gabriel. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. So, you and I have been chatting offline in regards to a medical administrative assistant position, and you have a vast background of administrative experience. So, tell us what you were doing recently for work.
So most recently, I worked for a woman-owned brokerage here in Orlando. I worked for Natalie Citarelli. She is a one single shop owner. So it is her being the broker of the company, the owner of the company. She is pretty much running the show. So she had brought me on her team as a licensed assistant, meaning that I was both licensed as an agent, so I could perform anything under the state of Florida to work any of her clients as a seller or buyer, as well as help with the administrative side. So whether it was scheduling any appointments for her clients, for any sort of business meetings with her agents, all the way to onboarding. And so anything that had to do with onboarding the new agents, showing them the procedures, keeping up with the state of Florida's regulations, because real estate has a lot of laws behind it. So you always have to keep up with it, and making sure that that was always translated to the agents, keeping up with their courses, keeping up with whether or not their licenses were active and if they were coming up on a renewal period. I was in constant communication with all of her clients. And so from start to finish, any clients that she had, I was the liaison to help alleviate a lot of that pressure, so then she could focus on other things, whether or not it was anything business related to like her legal concerns, elevating her business, growing her business. So I was the
Now,
liaison for
in
that.
that position, tell me a little bit about some of the computer software experience that you would use on a regular basis.
So quite a few of them, she had a CRM that is well known in real estate, which was called Follow Up Boss. So that was a system that we used to keep up with all of our clients, their phone numbers, emails, addresses, personal information. We would use that. Excel, Word were two other big ones that she used heavily as well. And then she used a lot of third-party systems that you would like, more like programs is I guess what the best way to explain them, whether or not it was to collect information, to verify information. She also did rentals, so we would have to run background checks. So anything that like a landlord's programs that they would use for that, we would use on
So I'm
our
glad
end.
you mentioned that she managed rental properties. Were you a part of any of the like accounts receivable processes, like
Um,
paying rents and keeping track of that?
Yes, for certain properties, mainly her personal properties. So with the administrative side, I was both the administrative assistant for her business, but also on a personal level. So
Okay.
with that being said, any of her personal rentals, whether it was a condo, a single family home, an apartment unit, whatever it may be, I did keep track of whether or not the rent was due, reminders, making sure if we needed any sort of collection pickup, she would have checks sent to her office, or if we could pick them up physically, I
Okay.
would be in charge of that. So she was in almost no communication with these individuals when it
Okay.
came to
Great.
processing the payments. I was the individual, and we never ran into any sort of concerns. So I can't share any sort of concerns on that, but
No, 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 no.
I was that person.
Okay, that's fantastic. Now, prior to working for that particular individual, you also spent many years working for Darden Restaurants in an administrative aspect. Tell me a little bit about that role, Cliff Notes version.
Yeah. So I was on their guest services team. I was mainly a part of one brand, which was Cheddar Scratch Kitchen. I
Right.
did have a little bit of background with Olive Garden and Longhorn, being able to assist their guest services and marketing teams as well, as a need basis. With that being said, our biggest form of communication, we did inbound and outbound calls, letters coming in, emails coming in, and the biggest one being social media.
Great.
So with social media, Google My Business, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, you name it, any social media platform that you can think of businesses on,
Okay.
we would correspond through there.
Okay, that's great. Gabriel, what would you say is the most important thing to you about the next company that you work for?
Structure would be probably the biggest one. I am looking to return to school, and so being able to have consistent hours is super important to me. So then that way I can achieve finishing my AA and pursuing my bachelor's.
Great.
And then the next one being just a welcoming environment.
Fantastic. And are you going to be doing school online or in person?
Online.
Fantastic. Okay, that's great. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and chat with you a little bit more if that sounds good.
Yeah.